So I know that the normal thing to do here is to start off with lots of enthusiasm and everything's great, but we'll address the elephant in the room. There's a lot of darkness going on right now. There's a lot of things that are troubling, right? So Europe is having some of the highest temperatures they've ever had. Last week, 2 different glaciers melted and got moving and just collapsed, right? The climate is changing. Now we're bringing cases against factory farms and coal polluters and fighting climate change, but it's moving fast. We saw the other night, I just got to hear Josh Koshkoff talk about the incredible litigation that they've been bringing for the Sandy Hook victims, And then at the same time, you look around and there's just a series of mass shootings in the country. There's a darkness that's sort of weighing on people. And we won a really great case in the U.S. Supreme Court. My amazing colleague, Carla Gilbride, won a case against forced arbitration on behalf of a bunch of Taco Bell workers who had been cheated. It's a huge victory. But the court is really broken, right? The Dobbs case, taking away fundamental rights that have been around for 50 years, gutting the Clean Air Act, the sort of maximalist approach to gun violence, overturning that the day before Dobbs. The Supreme Court is really broken in a significant way. And so it's easy for people to get depressed. And a lot of people in my sphere have a darkness, a heaviness about them. And people are feeling sort of hopeless and despair. One thing that I have picked up in following a bunch of civil rights leaders online is that the theme that comes up again and again from Cheryl and Eiffel and a series of other people is, this is not the time to give up hope. Hope is really essential. If people in this room start to feel the heaviness to a point where you are not fighting back anymore, then that is the really significant news. And if African American leaders who are really facing attacks on their community are saying the most important thing you can do is hold on to hope, who am I to disagree? And we have a bunch of clients who are real people who have been screwed over by huge corporations in a variety of ways, who are suffering from pollution that makes it hard for them to drink their water, of dangerous products that are giving them cancers. And they don't have the luxury for us to say, oh gosh, I'm feeling really despairing this week. They're looking to us to fight for them, and we're going to do that. And I think that as a model, the organization was formed 40 years ago, and it was in the wake of Ronald Reagan's election. And to a lot of us, Ronald Reagan's election meant you sort of had unbroken corporate greed, that there was this enormous deregulation making it easier to pollute the environment and so forth. And this organization came about and brought some civil rights cases, brought environmental cases, fought against dangerous products, fought against secrecy orders that were hiding different types of corporate abuse. And we came out as a response to the Reagan years. But something else happened in the Reagan years. I think it's going to be a little bit of a model for where we're going to be heading going forward. So another thing that happened in the Reagan years was you started to have a plague that started to take a lot of people. And Ronald Reagan wouldn't say the word AIDS. It was like a shame. He was like above that. He wouldn't even use the word. And I had a bunch of friends who died from that. I mean, there was a period in 1990 where I think Cleve Jones was the only person in America who had lived for 3 years with it. And it looked like it was just going to take an entire generation of people. And what happened was the LGBTQ community stood up and they organized and they formed groups like ACT UP with their memorable slogan, silence equals death. And they educated the public, they pushed the Congress, they got research going. And so we are still mostly a litigation organization, that's true. We have more than 20 terrific lawyers who are winning appeals and being in court around the country. But more and more what we're starting to do is we're becoming more of a public advocacy organization. We have a fantastic organizer of our food project. We have a communications staff that is absolutely unrivaled in this sphere. And we're building campaigns around the cases, but also around access to justice issues more broadly. And I think that we can learn something from the LGBTQ community's reaction to AIDS. So the court is broken, in my view. So do we just complain about it? So we're actually now taking the position that the court should be expanded. The court's been at different sizes, different years. It was 11 people a couple of years in the 1800s. Mitch McConnell decided it would be 8 when we had a black president. And so the court doesn't have to be fixed at 9. And so it was made 9 when there were 9 circuits. There are now 13 circuits. You know, I also think the one thing that we've seen from this administration that's really good is you're finally seeing judges. You know, it used to be that to be a judge, if you were a Democratic president, the judges were all going to be corporate defense lawyers or prosecutors. You're now starting to see some plaintiffs' lawyers, some public defenders as judges. That's a great thing. We've been advocating for that, and we think it's a great thing. And also, you know, there are other positions in the government. So we're incredibly proud that Kalpana Kodagal has been nominated for the EEOC. And our own Carla Gilbride's been nominated to be general counsel at the EEOC, and we really hope that they both get confirmed quickly. Hillary Clinton had this thing where she quoted Harriet Tubman, where she said, if you hear dogs, keep going. If you see torches in the woods, keep going. If they're shouting, you keep going. You don't stop. No matter what happens, you keep going. So, yeah, it's not, you know, some people, younger people in my life will occasionally start saying really hopeless stuff, and it's almost like you get in this argument. It's almost like, look, dude, it's not that I'm too stupid to understand that things are bad. And the answer to that is to keep going. It's not to give up. And so we're going to be doing that, and I hope a bunch of you will join us, and we're really excited you're here. Thank you.